It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Let me start with Tokwe Makadige in the building.
Yo.
Been gone for how many weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
Okay,
3 weeks.
back. How was your trip?
It was good. I had a very good time. I traveled with my husband and we had a lot of road trips, which also meant that we had quality time together, which for me was good. I felt like I was having honeymoon again, and I really enjoyed it. But I'm back to work now, and sad to start with sad stories again. Many Nigerians are scared of coming home. Even me as I've arrived home, I'm understanding their fears because the news reflects a lot of negativity. We're hoping for the best. New year, new...
Are you traveling again?
No, until March.
March is not soon.
So I love to travel. So it gobs all my money. I don't understand. Even right now, I'm very, very rich. Like when I say rich, you know when you say rich, like the Christians say it is well, and the Christians say I am strong. That's the way I'm saying I am rich, and I'm looking to God.
Alaja, Nima, Akashat.
Yes,
Zibiri, how you doing today?
I bought bad news from the farmer's market yesterday, but today...
Farmer's market?
Gari have cost.
Hey, Gari
has cost. I bought at a discounted 2,400 per paint bucket, but I have good news for friends to Mrs. Tyrat Bolanle Ayatunde Tijani.
Yes.
Mama Nabia, yes. Faik, and Fazil. Let's put all the titles out. The happy birthday, man. Today is her birthday. And from Mr. Tijani, happy birthday. Yes. It's also Shebotimo.
Shebot.
Yes, our chef.
In-house chef.
Happy birthday,
sis.
Our friend.
Very loyal friend.
Very loyal.
We'll bring the food. How you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Mostly spent at home, but I had a lot to do in the house. Nice. And so I was able to put, all the time to do it. But, something funny happened yesterday. Throughout, I had misplaced my phone. I couldn't find it.
Oh,
I looked, and yes, but it was such a huge relief, Like... The budget, 50% of your budget is taken away when you are not in contact with your phone. So even though I looked for it, I don't think I looked for it until much. No, I did. Honestly, I did. But I found it maybe close to midnight. That was when I finally found the phone.
You just knew it was in the house.
Yeah, no, I knew. No, I knew it was safe, but I just could not find it. And then it's always on silent, as you know. And then, so that means you're not constantly getting those messages, thinking some messages.
Yeah, that's a different level. I can't do that one. I mean, I can
do
it without
it's permanent on silent. Oh, right. It has to be.
That's why I miss a lot of calls.
Yeah.
No, when you miss a call, you can call back. You can
she doesn't call back.
It's a new year.
Just know that these two people can't call them in an emergency. Let's find somebody.
I think I'm just getting that memo.
Phone on silent.
I've always known you, but I thought...
No, when you don't message...
This was the highest culprit. She doesn't charge her phone.
Excuse me?
She doesn't. That's why the phone was
missing. Please, Mariah, how was your weekend?
Weekend was nice. I took my girls... Well, I took my girls. Yeah, I took my girls out. The boys are ready. This morning, they're reminding me that, please, it's our turn.
Okay.
So, yeah, I took the girls out. It was Elizabeth's birthday. So she had her girls in the neighborhood. She took her, and there's this really pizza I just discovered in Nigeria. Really good pizza. I'm surprised. I've never tried it. And I actually loved it. Really cheesy, really stretchy. They got it right. I'm like, I got to go back. I had pizza. I seen this weekend. I had pizza, 2 slices. I had rice yesterday. We haven't had it in months.
I can tell.
You can tell, right? I had rice. We had 2 full scoops of rice, and it tasted good. I missed rice.
I've been binging rice. I'm back to my diet from
you can tell.
This time. You can tell my cheeks are...
So my friend says I should say, greet everybody. I should name them. David, Daniel, Samuel, he goes, Elizabeth. And I didn't know Michelle's other brother was Michael. She said Michael, Michelle, and Gabriel.
The kids are due for
and then she remembered everybody and said, greet them. Aima, Kaima.
Let's plan something for Easter.
Yeah.
Our kids.
So I was
they've not
telling her
seen each
about
other.
the gifts. I got the same colors for 3 girls. Yeah. And so she was like, hey. She then started the reeling.
All right, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Kidnapped sisters are ordeal in 19-day captivity. Jimon mobilizes Ondo for APC. NSA Ribadu leads Ibadan blast probe. And I have a message from inside the papers. Editors Guild hails ruling on NBC code. All right, which story are we taking in The Nation?
Sadly, should I say excitedly, the release. Thankfully, the release of a lot of hostages that were kidnapped over the weekend, but the sisters were amongst those released as well. And the police say that, they were released by the police effort, but the sisters say that after ransom was paid. One of them said even after ransom was paid, they were even not going to release them. Sadly, they lost the eldest one. Yes, they killed one of them and dumped her body by the road. And so she was tweeting her ordeal and said, she was like, God, if actually we leave this place today, I would never doubt how great and amazing you are. I don't think anyone understands how I feel right now. And she says, Allah responded and said, I am listening, my answers, and answers my prayers. And, they were brought home. Videos were all over the internet circulating on how the girls were reunited and with their mom, and a lot of the efforts of the Nigerian police on, continuing rescue. Right now, Abuja is under serious security and, releasing kidnap victims, arresting kidnappers, and parading some. Yes, some people are saying no, they are not kidnappers and trying to accuse the federal government of, their release. Right. They came home on Friday and we're grateful to God for that.
Still talking about security, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has gone into the investigation into last week's blast. So this is follow-up on the Ibadan blast. And the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, will be visiting Ibadan today, as well as the Minister for Solid Mineral Development, Dele Alake. Dele Alake, of course, is from Oyo State. Justice Ariwola also hails from Oyo State, and they were all commenting on what happened. The Minister for Solid Minerals, because there is the story that first came out linked this to solid mineral related, he said that the federal government will be giving an official result after the forensic investigation comes out, that there's an ongoing forensic investigation. The Chief Justice of Nigeria visited the site and said that he was shocked at what he saw. Of course, the president, they were reiterating in the report here that the president had sent a message to the governor immediately it happened, in the presence of the Minister for Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, and commiserated with Governor Seyi Makinde as well as the victims. The governor is saying that 90% as an update, 90% of the injured victims have been discharged. He said that there would also be an integrity test on 230 buildings around the scene of the explosion. The governor also said that the death toll remains at 5 and that security agencies are investigating the immediate and remote cause of the explosion. So I think a lot of people just giving people updates on the fact that work is going on, investigation is going on, and people will get information as soon as the results are out.
Okay, I have the National Universities Commission has blamed the proliferation of illegal degree awarding institutions on some parents. So the commission says that Commission said the parents place a premium on university certification over other considerations, and he said, and that's the reason why they fall victims to these sort of people. NUC stressed that unaccredited degree awarding institutions and satellite campuses remain banned in the country. So they said in the year 2000, NUC had undertaken a resource assessment of all outreach centers and came up with the state of affairs of satellite campuses, and that was why they were able to ban it at that time. And he's saying that it's still banned. Then he's asking parents to make sure that they do thoroughly scrutinize institutions before they send their awards to acquire certificates there. Says everybody is right to pursue a university education, but how do you go about it is the crux of the matter. They agree that the challenge of access, the huge gap between supply and demand, makes parents desperate about getting university education for their children. This makes them vulnerable to greedy and fraudulent persons with commercial undertone. So a committee has been established on the closure of illegal universities. They have been mandated to identify, locate, and prosecute those perpetrating illegalities, and also do this in a multi-task stakeholders collaboration involving security agencies. So it's a response and an update to the fake results and certifications we had been dealing with late last year and early this year.
All right, so the Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, has hailed the ruling of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which declared null and void some provisions of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code. The code allows the commission to impose fines on broadcast stations for alleged breaches. If you recall, NBC had imposed a 5 million naira fine on 3 stations, MultiChoice Nigeria, owners of DSTV, Telcom Satellite Limited, Trust TV, and NTA Star Times for broadcasting documentary about the state of banditry and security in Zamfara State, saying the regulator's action was wrong and unjustifiable in a democratic society. And NGE agrees with them, saying the court is right in his ruling by saying that the NBC had arrogated judiciary power to itself by imposing a fine arbitrarily without cause to the law. Moving on now to the Punch. Kidnapping epidemic, banks enabling rapid growth of abduction industry, says experts. Picture story here. Goods destroyed as fire guts 10-story Lagos Market building. NSCDC foiled 48 bandit attacks on schools, says Commander General. Benin-Ore Expressway, kidnappers freed my father after 3 million naira ransom, says son. Forensic probe of Ibadan blast to determine next action, says federal government. Dangote refinery plans supply to 150,000 Ipman stations. Foreign medical school bills gulped $1.58 billion in 6 months, says CBN. Tinubu panel asks states to suspend low revenue taxes. Okay, which story?
Commandant General of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Audu, says that the agency has averted over 48 attack attempts on schools nationwide by bandits. As we all know, the story of bandits attacking schools and things over the years, and he said that because NSDC has revamped its strategies to be able to avert these bandits, and so we're going to see more of these aversions going forward. He says that what they're doing now is more kinetic, non-kinetic approaches, and that this would help, they are focusing on the background issues that cause this sort of conflict, that cause people to go into schools and do the kidnapping, and that the approach involves cautioning Nigerians, interacting, engaging with community leaders, its members, school children, and their teachers, so that they'll be aware as well as be able to identify suspicious movements. They said they'll enable them to know to call the attention of government as well, to provide timely information so that together they will nip this in the bud. So this is the approach that they are focusing mostly on, and this has helped them to avert as many as 48 attacks so far, and we think we will see more and more of these successes going forward because of these new strategies and approach that they have adopted.
Any other story in Punch?
So I have the Mandilas building, so...
Oh, sorry, let me take a break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Nima was going to take a story.
Yes, I was going to take the Mandilas fire that happened yesterday, and according to the Lagos State Fire Service, they've been able to, curb the fire that started from the 2nd floor all the way to the 4th floor and eventually to the 7th floor. The responders came from the Ebute-Elefon and the Sari-Gomu fire stations, and they were able to curb the fire. They said the fire, according to the director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Ms. Margaret Adesheye, she said the fire started by a faulty welding of a generator plant within the Mandilas building. This building houses a lot of businesses, the 10-floor building, and they were able to rescue 6 people with minor injuries that were treated at the spot, on the spot or at the building. and there were no casualties, no death, no injuries. That's.
So Dangote Refinery, yeah, we've been expecting production. So Ipman finally had a meeting with Dangote Refinery last week. And at the meeting, they've agreed to supply the 30,000 members of Ipman with enough crude to distribute to over 150,000 retail outlets nationwide. According to Ipman, this meeting where they agreed that going forward, if Dangote starts, indeed, there will be no more fuel scarcity across the country. Then Ipman was asked if they discussed pricing with Dangote refinery members. Said, no, we didn't discuss the price, but all we know is that the price is going to be a little bit lower than what we have been selling. The Dangote refinery located has received over 6 million barrels of crude at its 2 SMP located in Lekki. The first crude delivery was done in December 12th, and we're hoping that they can start production quickly and then distribution can start across the country.
All right. Yes, I do have a story. It's information about the expense. $1.5 billion was spent, $1.58 billion was spent in the first 6 months of 2023. I was hoping they would give us update on the last 6 months because I know the dollar exchange rate might have reduced what people were able to spend within that period. But what gobbled this amount of money was foreign medical trips, as well as foreign education. Those were the core things that gobbled the bill. They said about 245 million was spent on health-related issues and $896 million was spent on education. Then about $400 on other personal foreign needs. This is just within the first 6 months of 2023. The medical
Forex flights.
Forex flights, yes, with the amount of money we're losing. Of course, commenting on this is the National Vice Chairman of the Joint Health Sector Union, Dr. Ogbonna, who told Punch that this is obviously because of the exchange rates right now, it is important that the government beefs up local healthcare sector because many people cannot afford to travel anymore, and that many of those that are traveling could have accessed quality healthcare here but preferred the foreign trips. Of course, citing the example of the late governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, spending months away in Germany. And the president of the Medical and Data Association of Nigeria has said, Professor Aminu Mohammed said, the best time to reverse the trend of medical tourism is now, and that the president, if serious, can put a lot of funds into the local healthcare sector. And this amount of money that is taken out can now be put back into our economy.
Okay, Daily Sun. More job losses loom as multinationals exit puts federal government's 3 trillion naira tax revenue, thousands of jobs at risk. Enugu government seals multi-million-dollar deal for entertainment and sports city. Blame parents for illegal degree awarding universities. NDLA intercepts 1,274 parcels of cocaine, Colorado in Lagos, 5.6 million opioid pills in Kano. IPOB leaders case. Family decries Supreme Court's non-release of CTC. Cemetery city demolition. Popular skate maker apologizes to governor. Edo. Guba aspirants defy Oshomole, vow to contest popularity. And Tinubu calls for review of global tax system, affirms commitment to multilateralism. Which story taking, son?
I have multinationals exiting, and according to this report, it says, unless audacious steps are taken to fix the ailing Nigerian economy and halt the exodus of multinational firms, the country, literally on ventilators, may eventually collapse. And the report is saying that one thing that is quite worrying is also that federal government is banking on the exaggerated capacity of local firms to fill the void, and is also maintaining an offish posturing over the matter. So just, in simple English, it's not... They don't seem to get it, and they seem to be quite, they don't seem to get how serious the issues are. So this report is talking about all the multinationals that have left so far. The most recent being Unilever. Unilever says that they will stop production and sales of home care and skin cleaning products. And that
the bulk of what they do here.
This is the latest exit, including Procter & Gamble, GSK, and so many others. We also find that, we also remember Shell also had close operation too. And they're saying that, they're leaving for a whole host of reasons. Insecurity is part of it, policies that are just flip-flopping, access to foreign exchange and different things like that.
Some have even argued.
They don't feel that the federal government...
Some have argued that they also, the competition within the local market. So these soaps, for example, there are local versions people are using right now. So their market share has been really dipped into, aside from the issues, of course, the obvious issues. But there are also the fact that the local manufacturers or the local players are coming up. They are cheaper. They are accessing all these cheaper soaps. So they're not buying Omo sachets anymore. When I can easily buy something
from
the
government knows because
you have different
several
So this report is saying that they may not be able to meet demand as much as we think.
But if we focus within, if government starts to give the...
No, but the government is planning on its tax. The government has projected that this tax that we'll get will be what we'll use to fund a large chunk of the economy, and these taxes might not come in. So this is a major worry.
So that's the new guys.
The opportunities now. They're living, there's no major competition.
Sorry.
NDLEA. So NDLEA doing the work that they do, the media director of media and advocacy, NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, has spoken concerning the updates on the few things that has been happening, mentioning the fact that there were consignments coming from South Africa, Durban, and Canada. This contained cocaine, Colorado, and a strong strain of cannabis. They were concealed in containerized household items and vehicles that were imported from these countries. Also mentioned the fact that these illicit drugs, along with ammunition, sundry military effects, were seized during a joint examination of 3 containers by the agencies, and they had the sniffing dogs that were able to detect what was found within those containers. They said this include 1,200 parcels of cocaine and Colorado with a weight of 884 kilograms. They also found rounds of ammunition. Then there was another interception of 32 kilograms of Colorado that came in from Canada through used vehicles. It was found in tin can pots. And another batch from South Africa. A lot of the government, then they said there were 2 vigilant freight agencies and a traveler that escaped from being roped into drug trafficking operation, which was the story.
Yeah. So we wanted to hear the update of the guy that was being beaten at the airport because he had tried to implicate someone. So.
All right, so good news from Enugu State. It concluded a multi-million-dollar agreement with Del York Group to construct a state-of-the-art entertainment and sports park in the state. Governor Peter Mbah, while signing the venture agreement with the investors over the weekend, said investors have started picking interest in the state, in their numbers for businesses, because his administration was able to work tirelessly to make Enugu the safest state for living, investment, sports, and development. So I'm happy for that, because we need more of that.
Del York is the same one that signed with Lagos. I think that we should see the Lagos project before.
No, but it's aside that.
I think it's good for
Enugu. Good for states to start working, because we're trying to develop talent across the nation.
Del York has signed in Lagos. We have not finished seeing Lagos.
We're going to build a state-of-the-art. Yeah, we'll keep signing now.
The film city in Lagos has not...
It's a good PR to attract money. Vanguard, let's see how much time we have left. Let's find a story we've not taken. How troops rescued Nabiha's sisters and others in Abuja kidnapped victim. We expect citizens to challenge us over budget performances, Bagudu. FG awaits forensic investigation into cause of Ibadan explosion. Wrong time to fall sick in Nigeria. The cost of medicines skyrocket. Abia Radio, TV invasion, BONNUJ, NJE, carpet police, and how abuse of ways and means worsened inflation. Okay, which story?
I thought you took the Abia.
I did, but I'm looking for it. It said that according to the report, the picture story, it says falling sick can be challenging in normal times, but seeking treatment is currently a double blow, as the financial implication has become increasingly unbearable for many Nigerians. The cost of basic drugs such as antibiotics, analgesics, I'm reading it.
I know how
the process is thinking something else. Analgesics, anti-diabetics, and key medications for chronic conditions has doubled, tripled, and even quadrupled in some instances, leaving many patients struggling to access healthcare, desperately in need. Really, really painful story.
Scary. It's scary. This is a hot topic. You cannot afford to be sick right now. Prevention is better than any cure.
Okay.
Alagbo of Agbo.
Please get to the point. I don't know.
Okay, let's go to the point very quickly. It's our final paper. We can't take any more stories. Birth rate reduces in Nigeria. Which story were you interested in? Yeah, there is no political will to end insecurity. Concern over worsening case of rape, sexual assault among men of God, and why federal government must optimize crude oil production to revive Nigeria's ailing economy.
So let me just quickly say, well done to Timothy Agbo, the writer of this article in The Point, and it takes a complete inventory of, rape cases among men of God. So from the Islamic religion, Christianity, and the traditional religion, and he took all the court's convictions and, rape victims' account of how this happened. He started with one Islamic cleric, one Absalam Salahuddin, in Lagos, who was sentenced to life for raping his student. And then he went on to another bishop, Daniel, who is the bishop of Irene Christian Ministry, who was also charged with rape. And then he went to the traditionalist, who was supposed to help remove a girl's problem, who raped her also in Osun State. And he says that the concern now is, because the one for the traditionalist, it was her mother who took her for help because they said she would die before she turns 25, and she needed to do something, and so she took her for help there, and she was raped. And he says that parents now need to be warned to be more careful in relating with religious leaders, and But I love the fact that he had conviction.
All right. I just hope that religious leaders will have a register so we'll know who a true religious leader is and who is just a person wearing a cassock and claiming to be religious.
Let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. The residents of Desalu Street, Odo-Ona in Ibadan were thrown into confusion last week as a sick woman identified as Blessing Ayeni was dropped at the frontage of her husband's shop by officials of an undisclosed hospital. According to the report, the officials of the hospital claimed that Blessing had been abandoned at the hospital since last year. And the hospital was left with no other option than to bring her to the known address of her husband, whose shop was found where he sells alcoholic drinks. Now, many have commented on social media concerning this act. Others have criticized the hospital, others have criticized her husband and family. But this is a situation where we see a lot in Nigeria, where children are abandoned. Either you have a child with some kind of disability from birth, they are abandoned at the hospital, and the hospitals have no choice but to continue to care for these children. Families and loved ones who are unable to care for their family members dump the loved ones in the hospital, hoping that some kind of magic would happen. Well, you can join the conversation because we need to discuss this from all the available angles. You can call us on 081 0764 1679, 09024163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Entertainment _. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. You can also follow us on the Ladies of Your View. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, this is an interesting conversation. I know that even I have shared my own story where I had picked up a young girl, a 14-year-old, who was pregnant on the roadside many years ago. I took her to the hospital. The hospital said, oh, we know her. She's been here before. We can't deal with this. Please don't bring her into the hospital. And I had no choice because then I didn't want the girl to die in my car. So I had to return her back to exactly where I found her from because, listen, I didn't want to take responsibility. This was many years ago. What are your thoughts? As I said, this thing happens quite a bit. Who would you blame? What's your issue? What's your take on this story?
Who do we blame? In this case, unfortunately, government, we have to call you out on this because there's just a gap. The hospitals do their best, especially in this case where we have someone who's been in hospital for a year. This hospital has played its part even much more than they should have or were paid for or, could have afforded. And we now have someone who stayed in hospital for a year. Now, we have to have a system where people who are unable to pay their bills, who, for any financial reason or the other, they even say that maybe she lost her whole family and maybe there was an accident, there was no one else, and she was left in hospital. Government has to be able to step in that case. So that is where I see the gap. And, the hospitals, they do their best. We have called them out many times on some of these things, but the truth is, when we call them out, what are the alternatives that we have given hospitals to pursue? And have they done that? There are no alternatives for them. A person who is unable to pay their bills should be able to go to an institution and ask for help. A government should be able to step in. The hospital, too, can go to the government and say, we've had this person on ground for so long, nobody has come to their aid. What can government do? For me, it's just as simple as that.
I sort of have a slightly different perspective when I read this story, because for me, it's the emotional burden of taking care of a sick person is huge. It's not easy to take care of a sick family member. It's not. And we pray that we are surrounded by people who have compassion and are selfless in our times of need. But even those who have compassion and are selfless, many people taking care of someone with chronic sickness tend to have depression. They tend to fall ill themselves. They are stressed. Then there's the financial burden. When you see the image of this woman who has been in the hospital for 1 year, she doesn't look like she's getting any better. So it must be like a chronic sickness that has no cure. Now imagine having to, you cannot even imagine. I can't imagine having to take care of someone through that. The level of emotional well-being I must have to be able to offer help to someone in that state is a whole lot. And we're not preparing people for that. We get married, we say for better, for worse. But really, we are just hoping that everything is for better, for better. We're hoping we are never confronted with worse. People abandon their children. You say like your own child. I took my son, who was about 7 then, to General Hospital in Lasut. And there were like 3 patients that everybody was contributing things for, because those people have been there. The children have, 2 of them have sickle cell anemia, and their parents abandoned them in the hospital, ran away, and left them there. So the hospital now uses everything they can get from everybody to take care of those 2 children. It is a lot of emotional burden, and we don't take care of those taking care of people. Yeah. I think that's a perspective we need to have. How do we provide emotional support for those who are the last resort for people that are going through health challenges? There must be something to be done for them as well.
What are your thoughts on this?
I must take this story from the place of marriage and support. I think the husband has no business abandoning her. It's a different thing when you can afford to pay. It's another thing to show up every day showing her that she's loved in that state, So they had not seen him for a year. Family members who were even visiting after a while stopped coming. The hospital had an address. They could have done this first month. They didn't have to wait for a year. And she didn't look like she was getting better. At the time I read this story over the weekend, Tribune Online had gone to the place where she was dumped. She was still in the sun, lying there in front of her husband's shop. And all passerby were just looking. Okay, so she was in the hospital, you abandoned her for care. When she was now brought home, you abandoned her outside as well. She was just left there, helpless. Nobody showed up. No neighbors, no family, nobody helped her.
To confirm, they said the husband's shop hadn't been occupied for a while. So
in the story?
Yes. So they dumped her there. The man hadn't even been at the shop for a long time.
They said the Tribune Online said they couldn't get his account. I didn't read that the shop was abandoned. I read that they couldn't get him for his account. So he probably saw the situation and bailed out.
Let me go to just a few minutes ago, major headline in the paper that this is the worst time to fall ill because the cost of medical care is ridiculous. So I have so many people that if you get sick in Nigeria, you become a beggar. If you get sick in Nigeria, you mustn't get sick in Nigeria.
That takes me to the part of the health insurance, which we've been clamoring for years and decades. I know in Lagos, for example, there is a health insurance for Lagosian citizens. but many have not subscribed.
Residents.
For whatever reason, people haven't taken that initiative to go and register. Even I have tried to fill it for whatever reason, bring this card here. I have not been able to do it for my team. We are all just waiting, God forbid, for something to happen. Now, this is happening in Ibadan. I don't know what the insurance scheme is like in Ibadan, but the truth is that the reason why we have insurance is for things like this when you cannot afford healthcare.
So this is also why we have the humanitarian ministry.
In these kind of situations.
So, but this is why we have the Ministry for Women Affairs and the humanitarian ministry. Until this morning, I haven't heard from both ministries over this.
Good. So also concerning insurance, let's be upfront about it. A lot of people will tell you it can only take you so far. Many of them, especially from the vulnerable, really, the insurance does not cover so much. You know, it can get you into the hospital. Maybe you say, doctor, maybe you get, you know, regular prescriptions. But beyond that, you have to put in your money. We need institutions. The hospital should not be put in a position where it had to go and dump a person in a place where there was nobody. A family that is unable to take care of their relative financially should not be allowed, you know, should not be put in a position that they only feel that the only way they can survive this is to run away. There has to be some institution that steps in. As you said, humanitarian institutions, really, this should be their story. We should be hearing how they had rescued her from that place. And we should have more and more of these institutions around everywhere. This is what we need government to do. When we say government should provide enabling environment, this is what it is, so that whether we like it or not, many people will not be able to afford healthcare or education or things like that. Government can give us places where you can put people who, you know, don't have the financial means, don't even have families. There has to be some decent place that gives them dignity. And even if it means terminal disease where they have to live the rest of their lives, so they go in a decent place. That's all we're saying.
In the real world, in the perfect world, that's great. It's great on paper.
No, in real world, it happens in the real world.
I'm getting somewhere. In the real world, that sounds great. But realistically, ordinary a church wants to do, let us give let's have a saving place for kids to come and the families to come and have their breakfast or whatever. And you see the thousands that come in. Sometimes we don't have the capacity to handle this, what we're asking for. It's been nice to have a place where we can go there to help. Even TVC, I'm almost done. Even TVC, we had a show where we were helping people that, you know what, if you're sick, come to us. We'll cover you, we'll go to the hospital, and you will get your help. We did that for like a year or so, and people were bringing stretchers to the gate. We were bringing sick people, saying, listen, I also deserve airtime. The truth is that, how many of these things can you do? Yes, it's crucial when you have a system where there's insurance. So it has to be, you've narrowed down to who really desperately needs it. But Nigerians, there's no narrowing down. No. A huge portion of us need that help.
Majority. 500 and something million was paid into a single account to help businesses.
Let's not go and deal with corruption.
No, that money. Wait, the humanitarian better edu. The one that
the money was never transferred.
No, the one that they are already investigating.
They are investigating.
The one that Shaba
before then, even before her.
What I'm saying is, and the other one, the former minister, her own was to queue up with 4,000, these thousands that you mentioned, and be giving them cash, unaudited monies. Imagine that in every single state, a center was built where once you bring your case and it is medical, the doctors are paid, the center is funded, money, you can spend the rest. If you cannot, if your family abandons you, you will not die like a mosquito on the street. That can be vetted, it can be audited, it can be followed, but cash gifts, we have the money, Morayo. It's the missed priority that is the issue.
So,
like, where will we be million?
Going back to where I started from, may we not find ourselves in a situation where the loyalty of those around us is tested, or the compassion level of those around us is tested. This happened in New York. A friend of mine that is in New York had to be the one to take care of her neighbor, a Nigerian woman who was abandoned by every family member. She was terminally ill, was cancer, they knew. The hospital had returned her back home. And her children had tried to stay when she was in the hospital, but they had to go back to work. So who was going to take care of her? Like, they left her in the house. And that happens. Even abroad, people would leave them alone. The person would die inside the house, nobody. That's the reality of the world we are now living in. So we need to start going back to, I'm my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I will not see someone on the street and we will just leave the person there. Right now, the truth is, even me, I will drive past, because we are in a world where you are judged for being kind. if you go and help that woman now and the woman mistakenly dies, nobody will come and testify that she had been lying there for the past 48 hours before you carried her. It will be a case of you defending how the woman died inside your vehicle. And because the system is like that, people that want to be kind cannot afford to be. So we need to rewrite it from the beginning. Let's be our brother's keeper. Let the police not judge you for helping out someone and person dies in your car. Let the hospital not abandon a sick person in your car because you cannot pay the hospital bill. Let us as a people show love to the person that is left to take care of that. Okay, imagine you go to the hospital and you're taking care of a woman, of your wife, and nobody's bringing you food. Nobody is taking care of your children that the woman has left at home. You don't have any support system. You would later just run away from that place now.
Let me go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this issue of the woman who was dumped by the hospital at her husband's last address. And I know there's somebody said something about systems, and I was talking about the real world. Mm-hmm. And I said that the point I was trying to make is that, you know, I've always somewhat criticized the middle class, because I just feel like if the middle class do things right, pay your taxes, do what you're supposed to do, governments will have enough money to create this system, to solidify systems such as having soup kitchens, having relief help for state relief organizations that can support these kind of people, because there are lots of people who are working and not paying taxes. There are lots of people who actually can pay insurance. They're defaulting on their loans. There's so many things happening that we that should know better are not doing, where government is now trying to do what they can to get as much resources that they can, but they're not having enough. They're not even built a proper hospital, let alone to help somebody to pay their bills. So there's various layers of support government can do. But I always feel like there's government side, there's the people side, which is just as crucial as the part where government should also play, the part the government should be playing in this. So I just want us to see it on that, I wish
that was our problem, but it's not. I mean, it is a problem, but it's not the main issue. The main issue is misappropriation of funds by government. That's the truth. If it was, government has done so much and set up these institutions, and Nigerians, so we are in a fix because Nigerians are not paying tax. Unfortunately, that is not yet our story. We're still running after administration, corrupt politicians that have taken money and have used it for different things, except what it is that they are meant to use it for. We have huge budgets. We budget these funds. Few years down the line, we'll be asking where these monies went. We'll be looking for the buildings that they said that they built and it's not there. We'll be looking for the people that they say they trained, and people will tell you they have not trained them. So there is a huge problem on government side. You're right. We need to pay taxes, but government needs to get its act together. And when it does that, it will be easier to now get people to pay the taxes. Apart from people just refusing to pay the tax, maybe because it's just been a culture in Nigeria, there's also the fact that Nigerians know that when you pay your taxes, it will be filtered away, filtered away by some politician. Yes, you're right, but that's not our problem. We should knock on government.
Let me take Roy. Good morning. Thanks for calling, Roy.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so you've talked of taxes, you've mentioned government. These are things that Dubai do for their citizens for free. So it's not a matter of paying taxes, paying government. The only issue on ground is that there is no single Nigeria that values human lives. I don't want to say it's an African issue. We don't value lives. We see somebody that wants to commit suicide on the bridge. You see people carrying their phone, waiting for the person to jump, instead of trying to save that person. So once we can value life, there's going to be a big difference in the medical area. You come into the hospital, life is the first thing that they're trying to solve. Not.
Thank you very much, Ray. Yes, Nima.
So I wanted to try and support your idea of the middle class. So this middle class, of course, are also the ones who are the direct beneficiaries of most of these flamboyant projects we see. The the cost of governance, the Senate, the House of Assembly, we review them every day. They are priority. Their jeeps and cars is priority. It is budgeted for by the office. It is not priority to have food kitchens in every state, hospital homes in every state for people who are homeless. They will say the numbers are huge, but the figures that we use to buy the cars is not huge. It is priority because they have to travel between their constituencies. It's very important, and they will justify it in every national TV they go and interviews they go. But they don't justify the importance of food kitchen per constituency, so that somebody like this Rebecca lady will not be sleeping outside till a newspaper goes to confirm her story. That the moment she is dumped, that office or area, people will say, okay, go to this place. Those things existed in those days. They existed, that people would usually refer.
I like the word you use, prioritize, because I think that's really the crux of the matter. What do you think is first things first? Let me take this call from Evelyn. I'll come to you, Tokwe. Good morning, Evelyn. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
In regards to this issue, like now, I have a boss that's having a sickle cell. For the past 2 years, I've been partly with him. I take him to loot for medication. And it was the wrong medication that was given to me in Lagos State, in government house. Government house in Alausa. Now, 2 years now, I'm battling with this boy. He's my fourth child, and I'm battling with him. Medically, I will take this boy to loot. I will carry him, 7-year-old boy, all through, without attention. I thought they would attend to me in the evening, and I'll be carrying him. And even me, I'm dying. I'm dying. There's no help. What can I do? Will I abandon my child? But I'm just struggling with him. I'm even thinking of taking him to where they gave me right and I abandon him there. But if I can't do it, it's my own blood. So it's rampant. If that medical issue in this Nigeria is killing. Even me, I'm dying. I'm not praying.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you very much. Do you know there's some wealthy people that try to support people like Evelyn and others, and still that money is siphoned by Nigerians, with the people, you can still say, I'm going to take 1 billion naira, I'm going to use it to support. And Nigerians know they have free, it's supposed to give you free medication. But guess what? They take it, they steal it, and then sell to you with the people.
So, NGOs have been known to siphon donations made to them as well.
So it's the easiest place to point finger to is change this conversation into a government conversation.
That's the lowest hanging fruit.
It's easy. Oh, the government isn't doing enough. Given the government isn't doing enough, put that one on one side. But at the end of the day, the government is made up of people like you and I, and people like you. Like, surprisingly, I've realized in the past 6 months that a lot of people that are my friends, we went to school together, are now occupying political positions. They are becoming GMs, they are becoming advisors. People like me, we went to school like me. They were not born in a rich place, and they are decision makers. Their action and inaction is affecting people's lives. So when we are actually invariably pointing fingers to ourselves. So let us leave the pointing of finger and talk about what we can do, how we are offering support, how we are turning the other cheek, how we see people going through. Because until you go through the process, you might not understand. I can always listen to Ibrahim says, oh, this is how it feels like. I can understand. She has been through it. Not once, twice. You know something is wrong, and you are nursing and nursing and nursing. It is a lot of burden, and we need to talk about how to support people in that situation when they find themselves there, even if it is not financial. Because the family, one person, they said, what that means is, if I am holding on to hope for so long, my spirit will get weary. So when we now point fingers and say the husband is a horrible person, the family are horrible. Spent all their money. They spent all their money. I know stories of people close to me who have, this person has indebted herself through different payment apps just because her mother is ill. She has her salary for the next 6 months gone. All the mobile apps that she can borrow money from, she has borrowed money just because her mom is ill. And what will she do? She's the only one that can take care of the bill. So right now, there is no other money to take care of the bill. It's a case of, man, is it that I kill myself? And some have done it. They've attempted to kill themselves because they have extended everything because they don't know what else to do. So we need to address how to provide emotional support, financial support for people who are in this critical situation.
You end like this.
It's us.
So I thank you for, you know, for coming back to a real Nigerian story of a family who did not leave their sick one for hopelessness. Even the worst you can do is to put that person in a sheltered place. If the person is going to die from that illness, he will not die in the middle of the road like a rat. You will not leave your family. So where is that husband? Where is her family members? Let her be the worst family member of your family. She should be in a house. If the whole family is living in one room, she should be there. She should not be dumped on the road and left there till this story. That one worries me. Okay. And I can't come to conclusion.
Let me take this.
But you have come back to say we must provide the support. Government.
No government.
Yes.
How do we provide it? Let me take this call. Come to you. Chris, thanks for calling. You're live.
Okay. Yeah, you said about people should be paying taxes, okay? And I really want to know, what tax are we not paying in Nigeria? Because I think Nigeria, we are even paying more than enough. Because even this cost now, before you know it, how much will be deducted from me, that I don't even know how it's been done. Go to bank, just withdraw 100 naira, they will charge you another 100 naira when you make transfer. I just don't know where are the citizens not paying enough tax. What tax is that? Is it educational? Is it health? What?
I can't hear him very well.
Taxes everywhere. Which tax are we saying that we're not paying? When you make phone calls, you pay tax on it. If you transfer, you pay tax on it. Nigerians are paying taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, concerning this conversation on health, government is not the lowest hanging fruit. I disagree emphatically. It is government inefficiency, it's government corruption. That is why we're here. You can provide a shelter where people can go and drop their family members or anyone that they see on the street to stay, even if it's a bed that they stay until they live the rest of their lives. We don't have places like that. That is why the hospital will drop you in front of a shop that nobody has occupied for over a year. And that is why family members or people passers-by don't even know where to. That is why you find yourself in a situation where you take a child to the hospital and take her back there. If there was somewhere where government has provided, you would have driven her there and done your part. Why don't we have these things up till now? This is not about...
But we have
this
now.
Is no.
The IDP centers, what do? Who collected the rice? When people put rice there and individuals, that one is not government. Government has provided rice.
Have you been to IDP camps?
Let's even leave the one of
Have you
the
ever
ministers.
been to an IDP camp?
I haven't.
Have you ever heard the situation that they are in when they talk about it? Have you seen when there's a humanitarian crisis and where they end up and how they end up? Do you know how many individuals, Nigerian individuals, that put their resources together and help in little ways?
And what
is that we're now talking of, we're discussing a huge corruption that's happened in the humanitarian ministry.
Oh, yeah,
monies are no. That's the topic for today. That's where monies were supposed to go to.
No, I think we're saying the same thing in different ways.
See, I'm just saying that when we say somebody has siphoned money, this is what it means to everyday life. It means that you cannot have an institution where you can take a sick person to.
I think there are different parts.
When it comes to health, when it comes to education. It has to do with government and corruption.
But nobody's saying we say that the reason why government that says local don't hungry because anybody in a second can say it's government. No, that has never been debated. We already know there's corruption. Where I want you to highlight is also the part of where the Nigerians themselves play that role. Where she was trying to say that we bring IDP camps just as you're right. Maybe the IDP camps are not properly established enough to have all the infrastructure they should. You're absolutely correct. But when these citizens come together, we the people also siphon some of these goods and resell. So there are different parts of a problem that we all know. Let me take this call.
You know how I started it? I said government is not lowest hanging fruit in this conversation. That's what I said.
Let me take this call, I believe. Thanks for calling. You're live. Ahmed, you're live. Hello? Go ahead, please.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. Please, I want to ask a question, a very vital question in this program. Please, the question is this. Where did the corruption started from? The corruption itself, in quotes, where did it start from? The corruption started from the family. If we look at it very well. The reason why I say corruption started from the family is this. We need to inculcate a good character from our old generation. Why? Because we need to teach our children that there is what Yoruba call ejukokoro, conspicuous. That is where the corruption started from. When you are conspicuous in the society, there is nothing your mate will have. You, as a human being, you will be satisfied with. So it.
Ahmed, I was trying to get the point.
No, his point is, corruption starts from the home. We raise children who are pretty covetous. They have when they see their mates have something, they lack contentment. They want everything else. But at the end of the day, we live as we came with nothing. So I totally understand. But I want to go back to what Miriam is saying. You see, when you say government has the commonwealth and control of it. Government has a very large reservoir of resources where government can decide A is what we do first, B is what we do second. So we have a large population of people, and as we are now, we don't have a national health insurance scheme that is functional. So we created a humanitarian ministry. It wasn't an existing ministry until 2 administrations or 3 ago. Yeah. So when we created that ministry, it became a conduit for money to get missing, because it became an avenue of give cash, give cash, give cash. And we've always heard experts say that giving cash has never solved the problem. So we want to copy the models abroad. Let's copy them. Let's create homes. I know the Ministry of Women Affairs has home for women who are suffering from various issues where they can stay. I don't know how that. I only know the Lagos State example. I don't know how the national one works, and I don't know how the Oyo State one works, where Rebecca is. But we expect that home will be given priority. Everybody will know number, just the way we know Yaba left. We will know number something, anywhere it is. And they will say, okay, this person, an hospital will say, because of your finances, we can't continue to care for you. They can write that ministry, they can carry that body, that person to one of those homes and say, we can no longer continue. But they cannot dump any Nigerian in the middle of the road to rot because the family has abandoned the person. Then we come back to family. Why will your sick person be in a hospital and be left? I don't want to sit on this table and start to talk about things we see. I know someone very close to my family who was there in the past, and I didn't know she had breast cancer. I just kept asking of her till I found out she had breast cancer. And we found the hospital all the way to Ogun State where she was. That's how families behave. You don't leave your loved ones or relatives.
You said something that the hospital shouldn't also have dropped on the street.
They shouldn't have to.
That's structure. That's what I said. Now, the hospital actually tried. Yes, they kept the woman for 1 year. But even when you are at the last resort, it shouldn't be to drop on the street. Structures, governmental structures to ensure there will be a place they can drop off if the hospital feels that I can no longer handle this particular situation. We don't have that place yet. So that's one of the things government can do to put a structure in place where when push comes to where everything is down, this person has no family member. They survived this only survivor of a fatal family accident. Who would they go? Where would they go to?
Thank you.
They will go to this particular place that the hospital can take them there, or individuals
I know that
them
I
there.
have
You need
visited
that kind of place.
places within Lagos State where I think it was the children's, I can't remember what it was, with the church. And they said these are people that were dumped. And they're taking care of them.
Was it owned by the government?
It's owned by government. It's owned by, it's a correctional service, right? So they have kids where their family just dumped them. Maybe your child, boys, where the kids, your child, you have a delinquent child, and the parents just dump them.
The boys' remand is not for that.
So I'm just telling you that there is a systems in place, but it's still somewhat fragmented in where that it's not it's not comprehensive enough to carry all the various factors, because there are children who have been dumped by their parents, where the government are taking responsibility today. So it's not like it's totally all bad. However, I do agree, as I wrap up, I do agree that government has a huge role to play. And the reason why I use the word low-hanging fruit is the first port of call. Definitely, they are the first we're going to come to, because we will hold them responsible. That's the first person you go to. That's it's the lowest hanging fruit. But if we dig further, and go higher, we realize that there are other layers that we also can support. But government, because we all discuss government, we all criticize government and call them out every single day. That's why I use the word low-hanging fruit. I can arrest them immediately because I know automatically government is a fault here, where proper systems must be put in place.
Why will your loved ones? Somebody had somebody's wife had 2 children, quadruplets, and the first thing the person do was bail. It not be you give her belly. You face it. You start from somewhere.
All right, let's go on a break now. When we come back, move on to another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to our next hot topic. Professor Wale Soyinka lamented over the social media the sorry state of the space. Says has fallen in recent times. He said, according to him, the social media space has been dragged down to the lowest common denominator and taken over by people he described as barbarians. And they have swapped the intellectual quotient, which used to make and still make social media valid in all societies. What are your thoughts? Of course, people have come for him from all angles on social media. That how can he say that? What nonsense is that? Really? But what he was trying to allude to is the fact that it seems that those who have that who have the intellectual perspective, their voices have been since drowned by those he believes are barbarians who they speak with no reason, and they believe that once you're not on their side, you are the enemy. What are your thoughts on this? This is a Nobel laureate, Africa's pride, talking. And, you think to yourself that the value we used to give this man, I don't know, somewhat people have just tried to, water it down in some way. But let's hear your views on it. You can call us on 0810764 1679 0902 163 You can also tweet to us at TVC Entertainment _. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. All right. Nima, would you like to start?
Yes. I don't mind starting. So I understand the prof very well because we all were here during the elections and how Nigerians would like to use your mouth to express themselves. So I saw his tweet and I saw the backlash. I saw people. I even saw him being dragged to this tweet, why he was forced to write the tweet. And Nigerians would rather, most Nigerians that were attacking him on his page wanted to use his mouth to hate what they hate, and like what they liked. So once he's not liking what they like in whatever he's writing, or he's not speaking against what they hate because he's not speaking at the time, they will call him out. We have Professor this, we have so and so. So we forced our national heroes to demean themselves, to turn to Twitter cloud chasers. Sadly, I know some that I held in so much respect, and I'd like to see. I never really liked Reno, for instance, but I started to agree with Reno at some point. Presently, I had some disagreements with him. Just read. I'm on their pages so that I can get some cerebral conversations. I have plenty of them that I follow. And suddenly, some started to drop standards. Just kept saying, let me follow what I want. But I will not go on that person's page and say that Tokpe's mug is white. You have to say it. Is it now that Tokpe's mug is white that is no longer white? If you don't feel the need to talk, let him have his peace. You drag him left. He's the Nobel laureate. You drag him right. You drag him everywhere and you say he shouldn't call you a barbarian. He will, of course. He would see you attacking him constantly in his old age when he has nothing to fear and call you what you are, a barbarian.
I agree with him. I agree with him that, social media is full of noise. And it is also going to give you what you accept. It will give you what you permit. It will be full of whatever you cannot drag if I'm not moved. So if they are dragging him, he is moving. If he did not say a word, they will tag him till tomorrow, call him till next year, and if he doesn't say a word, it's still nothing. One must develop a thick skin in this world of social media noise, because if you react to everything that is calling for your attention, you will have no time for your own self. You will have no time for your own life. You cannot afford to be paying attention to everybody that is dragging you or tagging you online. That's the reality of where we are now. Noise, and most importantly, nonsense noise is the one that is trending. If you are talking sense, you are probably not going to trend much. The more nonsense you do, the more crazy you go, the more you go like out of the ordinary, people will now start asking you, why are you so extraordinary? Why are you so unusual? Just because you are doing something weird. And we are raising a generation of young children, young ones, who are now tempted to go wild just so that they can get attention on social media. We need to start reversing it. And I start from sanitizing my space. I know who I follow. If you tag me in a post that does not relate to me, I will delete. I won't even respond to you. I cannot spare the time for your anyhowness. I don't have the time. I will delete your post. I will then go and block you. You don't see me again. Even on my WhatsApp story, you come there, you talk. I will block you from seeing my WhatsApp story. Block you from seeing. I will block everything that does not align with who I want, who I am at that time. So I think we need to do that. Professor Wale Soyinka, you are too respected to be talking to barbarians. Leave them alone now. Simply.
Well, let me come to you, Mariam, because would you say that the prof is also being judgmental a bit, Colleen? Because you say, where does freedom of speech stand here? People can say, they can express themselves as they choose. Okay. So for someone that say that now describe them as barbarians, uncivilized, using those words to characterize them, that's you also being judgmental, don't you think? Him being judgmental?
No, he's just categorizing them. He's just putting them in a category. He did not say everybody on social media is a barbarian. He's talking about some people and the words that they use. See, most recently, something happened at our table when the deputy governor of Edo State came here, and we asked him about his former principal. I don't know if they are back together now, Oshomole. And he said, what he said at the time in disagreement with Oshomole, he still stands by it. But the words that he used, he regrets that. And I thought it was such a powerful moment because it's important that we are aware of the words that we use and how it forms us and where it puts us. The barbarian, I'm wondering why Nigerians are upset. You people are the ones that go on social media. You want to do fire for fire. You want the people to call you savage. And now they have called you savage. You're upset. You gave yourself the name.
Exactly.
You said you're savage. It's fire for fire. I no go agree for them. I no agree for them. They have not called you exactly what you have called yourself.
You're not angry.
Why are you angry? It does not make sense. Sometimes this English can be a bit too much. So maybe he breaks it down. I have the culture that we have as human beings. I don't even want to go to Africa or Nigeria. As human beings, is that the way that we respond to each other, the way we speak to each other, shows your culture, shows your refinement, shows your education or lack of it. So if you're the sort of person that goes about insulting people and you don't have to make a point, we're not saying don't speak, we're not saying don't make your point. Even the Nobel laureate, we know him, he makes some very strong points and has strong opinions, but there's a way that he does that. So that's what we're all saying. When we converse with each other, in person or online, there has to be a way that we do that to show our refinement or lack of it, our education or lack of it, and our culture or lack of it.
Interning as a young lawyer fresh from school, I worked with one lawyer in Festac, and he was the most polite senior lawyer I've worked with. If you do something for my boss, you go, oh, thank you. I'll be like, it's office work. In my mind, though. And he wants to say, please, kindly. He had all the pleasantries to address you. You cannot go and tell the world that my boss treated you badly. And he would actually be giving you a lashing. And it will be in the most polite language. You can have an opinion on a point. We can discuss Morayo's phone. But by the time I attach Morayo's phone to the glasses she's wearing and the kind of person she is, voila, don't they? I've already descended, I've diverted from the topic itself to something else. We can have national issues and talk about it. And the prof himself can come and write an opinion. And I can go under his way and disagree using facts and point constructively without saying, you, prof, that's why you have an afro. Nigerians will leave the point.
And start
go to his afro.
The person.
Go to his pedigree. Ask who his brother was, his wife was. We are still talking national issues. What are we saying? What are you saying? You now focus on him so much, trying to get him to cower into his house and leave the space for you. This is somebody who built a profession on writing his opinion, writing his fictions, writing his stories. And you say, okay, don't write again until you write what I want to hear. And if you don't write it, I will call you eyes big, I will call you afro, I will call you all sorts of things. I will come to your person.
But is it our own lack of understanding this new world?
This generation have lost how to talk. And it's a problem. I remember when I was a young, fierce and all of that, and my father would never listen to me. This is my close father I used to talk about. My immediate older sister got all she wanted. I had to learn to be polite in disagreement. I would lose my temper. I would shout. I would call people. If you find me in my temper today, you will still see me. I would be using those things. You know? I can flare like that. But I was taught in my home, Whenever I'm in that space, nobody would answer me. And I'll be beaten in school for what I was asking ferociously for at home. I'll be like, they gave you, they didn't give me. They love you, they don't love me. And my father was like, no, you better watch your sister. It took me 2 straight years when we were in secondary school, same class, to watch her and learn how to talk to my parents.
Let me take this call from Hadiza. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Okay. Murayo.
Yeah.
You know what the government is supposed to do to this case? That to those money that they are giving the ministers and all that, let them go to the hospitals. They work with the hospitals. The people that they are led listening to that cannot pay their bills, let them work with them. This person, sister man supposed to be paid. This person, sister man supposed to be paid. Let them work together like that and pay. How will you on earth give some people money to be eating? Some people are there dying. Okay, look at those 2 men and then drop at the roadside. If that gets a drop at the roadside, which is very wrong. The hospital is wrong. They are not supposed to do that for the woman. They're supposed to keep her there. We start looking for the husband. If they see the husband, they cannot talk to him.
Thank you, Hadiza.
Please come and carry.
Thank you, Hadiza. So going back to Professor Wale Soyinka, you know, in trying to find that bridge between today and then, it's always important for us to bring it together, because whether we like it or not, there are lots of people that feel that they like this social media era where we can express ourselves exactly as we see it. Now, the onus is now on people like Prof, those of us who feel intellectually, we have the intellectual capacity to engage these people and get them to the point where we can reason together. Because many people feel like if we are unable to reason with these young people, you're going to lose them totally and completely. We've almost lost every young person who doesn't even believe in government. They don't believe in the way we see life and the way we see things. So do you think instead of lashing back and calling them barbarians or just castigating them into this group or saying that they are unruly, uncivilized lots on social media, we say, you know what, let us find a way to engage them better?
I think over-engaging is what has gotten us to where we are. We have engaged, and we're always engaging. It's carrot and stick. A lot of the things that we permit right now, if they had permitted it when we were younger, we would not be who we are right now. We will not develop the resilience, the discipline to do the things we're doing that is making us stand out successfully. So I think that this idea of let's listen to them, let's encourage them, let them speak up, let them... I was watching an interview. The guy was saying that if he was in the military, he said what made him turn out the way he is right now, if he was in the military now, they would not have allowed the officers that drilled him to drill him. They will say they are punishing him. They will say they are being too harsh on him. But those they drilled him, gave him the discipline that has made him succeed as a military man and now making him succeed in business. Sometimes this over-pampering, he does not want to work on Monday. Let him sleep and work on Tuesday. Hello, when reality hits you, by the time your bills are piling up, when adulthood shows you pepper, you realize that you will work on Monday, you will work Monday morning, Monday night, Monday evening. And I should start grooming you early enough. So Professor Wale Soyinka has gotten to this particular age with the gray hair on his head that he can call out and say whatever he wants to, the way he wants to say it. And there is nobody that should hold him or call him back for saying, if he calls you barbarian, take it and
let's even put it properly.
Take it with stew and soup and swallow it.
Festus, I'll come back to you. Good morning, Festus. Thanks for calling. You're live. Good morning, Festus. Okay, I think I lost that call.
Okay, so Prof says it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong or they are right. It's just a question. Take your facts to the table. Let's examine them carefully. Consider the possibility that you may be wrong or you may be wrong, but you don't have to descend into the demonization of the group to which others belong in order to establish points. I don't deal in social media. As far as I'm concerned, barbarians have taken over social media. They have swapped the intellectual content which used to make and still make social media valid in other societies. Here in this country, social media has been dragged into the lowest common denominator. And this is Prof's opinion of how it's eating. Each of us, based on what we see, have our different opinions. Some people have so commercialized it. They run on the trends and they make their money. And you go to their comments and think, oh, they are the one expressing your opinion, whereas they are marketing it. In fact, there's a way they now come on their appeals on Twitter now. they will come and say, this person belonged to this group during the elections. He's down now. Show up for him. Some people will come every morning and say, if you belong to this group, you deserve followers. Raise your finger or something, comment, let's see you. So we'll give you followers. It's been marketed. And so that madness, that craze, that rush, they like it. That's their strength. That's their field where they play.
Money.
Yeah. They're making money. So when you see them go to a prof, call the president, this is not my country, they swear, and all of those things, you think they're saying the right things. The poisoning mindset. Young people who are growing up in good homes now think, no, me too, I must join them. I mustn't agree. I must, when you don't want to agree, do you not agree with your reasonability, with your sense in your head? Then common sense is even a punishment because you have to wonder why the other person doesn't have it. People are constantly, and they are making their money's business, doing their businesses on this page.
I think I have a caller. Good morning. Thanks for calling. Okay, I'm going to go on a break. When I come back, we'll continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing Professor Wale Soyinka. I was going to come to you, Mariam.
So I was going to say that, going forward, I think we're going to see a lot more people who, appreciate decent conversation, just move away from social media. Because really, social media has been overrun by people who do not care to be civil with each other. And so that would mean that when you want to go for your intellectual discourse and, follow people who, have intellectual, proper conversations, you may not go to social media. Now, secondly, I've always said this, right? In real life, when you're having conversations, you have adults have conversation with adults. You have children have conversation, but social media opens the field to everyone. So you see a child who, in real life, would not be able to say something to you, would never even think of putting some words together and say them to you, come on social media and say everything, because they are yet to grow up. So we too, the older ones, stop playing san with children in the playfield. Allow them to play in the playground and find another place where, do you understand, where you have serious adult, decent conversations, and then they will know that they need to earn the space on conversations like this. I think that's it.
That. Let me take this call from Femi. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning. Good
morning.
Morayo.
Morning, sir.
And the good ladies. Morayo, I don't blame Professor Wale Soyinka at all. Look at it. It is not on the social media alone. Look at the presidential candidates of the party. 3 of them, because their cases did not go on their way, they were vilifying and debasing the appeal and Supreme Court to the lowest level, embarrassing level. Look at a senior son, life in complexion one, I don't want to give the name, about the 25% of Abuja. He caused the embarrassing discussion for the Yahoos to be saying nonsense. They are barbarians. Thank you.
Should we also blame the companies who have made social media such an attractive platform to earn revenue? Because they are taking advantage of the fact that, oh, this person has numbers. And how do you get your numbers? You get savage. How do you get numbers? You say things are trend. You get the numbers. And when you do that, you have publicity. Companies come to you, brands come to you to support them. And maybe if we can start going for those, because when you follow the money, you are able to follow the crime. So if some of these people can begin to be sanctioned for the kinds of spend they're having on some of these celebrities or some of these influencers, maybe people can rethink how I get my numbers, because, we should be giving some kind of access to the back end where I can know how you're getting these numbers. Is it through this post that was such a negative post that gave you this influx of numbers? Because of that, there's a system that can discredit the numbers or give it the kind of revenue that you expect.
Is it not the same country where Gistlover gets sponsored ads? People pay Gistlover for sponsored ads. Somebody was saying, if you put your advert there, you will blow. I said, no, I can't put my money into a platform that funds hate, a platform that spews and destroys families and destroy lives, I am not going to put my money there, even if they have numbers. But some people put their numbers, they put their money there. They are the ones that empower the platform and make the platform continue to thrive. People don't care who the brand is. Whether you became popular by being naked or you are holding the low in different videos, I will still make you my brand ambassador. It's about values. And at the end of the day, social media reflects our values. You will know people's values when you follow them online. You will see what they are doing. You'll be like, okay, good, we know you. And I will know who doesn't have any values by what they post online or what you're liking or what you're commenting on. So when we realize that, you would have peace of mind. See, social media, don't kill yourself. Professor Koleshoyinka, we need you for many more important things. Leave social media people alone.
I'm sure he's not stressing it. I can assure you.
I'll come to you, Nima. Stephen, thanks for calling. You're live. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's engage our comments on social media. Go ahead.
So, we have existing laws that makes libelous what anybody writes that is false as against somebody or, any institution in Nigeria that we can also use on these people who write. But when they spew false news, they write those false news and spread it as if it's real. Maybe take a bit of truth and expand it as if misunderstand writing on it, and they know deliberately they do that and use it to gather facts. Nigerians should verify. Report that page if you know. And they handle the social media, whatever, spaces, they have their rules that you can use to report them. Recently, just towards the end of last year, I saw a video that talks about how pork meat was bad. As a Muslim, of course, that supports my faith. I shared it on my page. I did not tag anybody, neither did I call anybody. And one young lady came on and called herself a journalist, came on the comment section and personalized her reply to me, knowing I'm Muslim. I'm probably talking about my faith, and forces me to believe in pork meat. Not only in my comment section, continues to drag, and people are like, you know her. She's Muslim. She's never hidden her belief. She's writing about something she believes in. I just shared the video and say, the words of God remains true.
She was trying to say that you are discriminating against those who ate it.
Hey, that's forcing me. You can go and write it on your page and say, everybody is pork meat. As in, I use my page that I work hard for. I push my values, and you come in the comment section and talk about a discrimination when I did not even know your name. I didn't know where you existed. I don't know whether you eat pork, whether you don't eat it. I don't care.
Let me take this call. The last one, you're live.
To get to that point.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for the good job you guys are doing. Really appreciate it, and I'm always happy. I'm always eager to want to watch your show.
Thank you, sir. Oh, I think we're having issues. We couldn't get that. Mariam was going to jump in here.
No, I think she was finishing up.
Yes, I was going to round up. So you don't need to force anybody. When you see something, just as top person, follow the pages you believe in. I used to assume that everybody following my page was Muslim. That was my earliest.
Let me.
And so I used to promote only Islamic content and share what I liked or write what I liked.
Let me come in here
over time. I expanded it.
What Professor was talking about. Okay. Because during the election period, there was a movement. Because many people will tell you, the Arab Spring started with this, and that happened where young people came together and decided wanted a revolution, wanted a change. So a lot of people who identify with other parties was because they felt, listen, this is our time. So they gave in their hearts, their blood, every toxicity they could find in them. They broke it out and said, you know what, we're going to get rid of the status quo. So it wasn't because they are bad in bad sense. It was because they felt that was the energy that was required to push away the status quo. And they were willing to put it on, just like, so back in the day, you get younger people fighting and going to carrying the guns. But this time, they're not carrying guns. They were on social media. So if we look at it that way, where these guys are using the tool they have to get the vote, to fight. So that was the origin or the originator of what Prof is saying concerning the way they were spewing it. Now, how do we then recondition that or realign them to be reasonable in their thinking? Instead of judging them and saying, that's how they are. See that these guys did not use weapons, physical weapons for whatever. They used the social media they had to create a system because in their mind, it was a revolution. Unfortunately, the elections did not go the way many of them thought because in their mind, this is let's gather all our ammunition and get rid of the status quo and bring in this fresh blood. That was the thinking. Okay. It was not against anybody in particular. It was against the system.
So you said that how do we change the
Yes,
mindset
how
so
we
that
realign it such is not constructive.
I have just one advice. Please, can you read the book Nigerian Public Discourse by Babatunde Raji Fashola? It would show you how you can recondition your mind to having those kind of conversations in a credible, factual, intellectual way. And you will still be listened to and respected for your opinion, whether in support of or against.
Elijah Subera, let me take this call that comes to you. Good morning, Elijah Subera.
Thank you very much. Morayo, good morning. Good morning to your guests. I think yes, Professor Wole Soyinka is 100% correct. Let me tell you, if you listen, based on his comment, and let me use this opportunity to thank Mariam. Mariam made a statement now. It clarifies issues. He said social media is a combination of people that does not care to be civil. You understand? Look at that word. That does not care to be civil. And that is what Professor Wole Soyinka is referring to. And he made it clear in some area of the world, they use social media for progressing for something tangible. And do you know the number of people that social media has destroyed in this country? And you remember what happened in the last administration, that's the Buhari regime. That is what metamorphosed Muhammadu Buhari to even suspend to Twitter. You remember? So these are these are the essence of what we are talking about. So Professor Wole Soyinka is 100% correct. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
I wanted to respond to you when you said it was a movement and they used what. But do you know when a tool? How can you tell when a tool has been hijacked? What do you know that is the goal of the person who's pushing a particular narrative that you jump on and you think the person expresses your beliefs or is fighting your fight? You really can't tell. Recently, a young lady said her husband was eating somebody's food in the office, and so she started making food. And a lot of people started to gift her. Initially, when I read it, when I saw what she wrote and how they were gifting, I thought, oh, everybody just thought she needed help, and they were helping her. Whereas there was a movement,
an agenda,
pushing the home narrative as opposed to, strong women pursuing careers. And, they were attacking those women, and those women too were attacking her. So you really can't tell the ideology behind anybody's movement. Because you cannot tell. Me personally, when this artist was recently died, and everybody said, right? I said, I don't know what is happening here. People have been dying on the streets of Lagos. Nobody is speaking their bodies. Nobody is starting a movement. What exactly is happening? Till today, I don't understand, because I don't know why the noise died. Yeah. The artist has still not been... What exactly was the rush? Everybody, if you did not write it, you did not post it. Interests. And somebody had to send me a comment. You are not talking about this. Why would I talk about something I can't understand? We can allow people their time to hibernate, understand, digest, whatever, before they write an opinion. On their pages. It doesn't have to be with trend, cloud chasing all the time.
I think that's a very valid point. Go ahead, Tokwe.
So for me, I feel that when we start understanding that is not everybody on social media that is thinking and saying things from your perspective. Like, social media it's a leveler. Someone that did not, as in, it accepts everybody. Somebody that did not even go to school that cannot read is there. He will type what is on his mind. The one that cannot speak English is there. He has plenty of followers. You that you now went to school, studied, you have such exposure. You are now expecting someone with a totally opposite worldview to understand your intellectual conversation. It is extreme, like it's a waste of your time. So I have learned to see people, I see a comment, I check the person's page, the person does not have one post, or the person is private, or the person has just one post, and the person is commenting, and I'm afraid to react to the person. I don't have the time to entertain your anyhowness or entertain your lack of vision or your anyhowness. So me oraye in this year I know they agree.
You used about 3 times already.
Yes,
okay.
because I've seen that online. There are many people that I have too much self-knowledge and self-awareness for me to entertain them. And I think many people need to love themselves enough not to take the hate or accept the evil or accept the insult. So much that I have blocked a lot of blogs. I have blocked it. That Instagram cannot even suggest it to me. I can't stumble into it in my explore because I don't want to be distracted from my purpose for the year. So if you like yourself, it's so early in the year that you can start sanitizing your page. So you don't see what you don't want to see. On a final note, when you choose to now respond to those things, like you decide to want to give them, when you give, be ready to receive back what they give to you. because the moment you respond, you have opened up the channel.
Descended into
the arena.
You have joined them.
What's that guy say? That
You
actor.
fight with pigs, don't complain you are smelling. You will stink.
That actor that you told me to reply, I said, I'm not going to talk to you.
I'm so happy.
About that guy.
Oh,
yes. He sent a message.
I'm so happy you did not reply.
I totally ignored it.
Oh, thank God
now
you did not.
You want to use me to be right. Forget about it. Yeah. Let me take this call. Hamed, you're live.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes.
See, Professor Wole Soyinka is, in fact, if I qualify him to say 1,000% correct. You know, most people on this social media, they are like, I don't know, they are like parrots. You understand? They are like, they want to like notice me. I don't want to mention me. You understand? Like, notice me. Let me just say something, or let me just say something. You understand? Even it applies to all these especially most of these government officials, all these businessmen, all these people that have small money, that you just make money. You just want people to know that you have money, you know, to showcase, which is very wrong. We need to change our orientation. We need to change it in this country.
Thank you very much, Hamed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Biliki says, Miriam, you know a fool doesn't want to be called a fool, even when they already know they are foolish. That's how it is. Barbarians might sound like big grammar, but those who throw insults online as easy as they breathe have already shown us who they are. Immaculate Boy says, please, how is the social media space going to be different from the Nigerian life? Agberos or Monile, etc. on our street isn't any different from our Twitter street. Every country's social media is a reflection of its people. Biliki said, this hypocrisy and defensive mechanism. Is it a lie that some elements have made social media their venting place because they transfer aggression, throw shades, and clap back at anyone, age irrespective? We have witnessed this over and over again in the claim of freedom of speech.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you know what, this conversation is really about, it's not about Wole Soyinka saying that social media in its entirety or people who are on it in their entirety are barbarians. It's about how some people behave. And so some of the words that we use for ourselves, let us understand what it is that we're using. I want to use this word, I want to give us the dictionary meaning of savage, because I hear a lot of people say, I'm savage here. Savage, of an animal nature, fierce, violent, and uncontrolled. Something bad or negative. So when you say you're savage and someone says you're also a barbarian, it's putting you in the same category as you have named yourself. If you want to rename yourself, if you don't want to be called a barbarian, if you know you're not savage, don't call yourself savage, don't act like that, and you will be respected or disrespected for how you have categorized yourself.
Okay, we're going to be wrapping up very soon. Let's take a few comments on social media so that they don't feel left out in this. But going back to dictionary meanings, it's saying that barbarian also means a person from an alien land who is believed to be inferior, uncivilized, or even violent.
That's
so you have given yourself that category. But let's take a few comments and then we
Williams
wrap
Davis
up.
says, everyone is entitled to their opinion, so make them free, Prof. Prof opinion.
And they who are responding to Prof too are also entitled to their opinion.
Yes, on our earliest topic, Mrs. Collier Ade says, Nigerians should learn to invest in health insurance care. It's highly important as Ashwebi, please. And she also says Miriam is referring to a place called a hospice in developed countries where terminally ill people can be taken
that word was just in my head.
Care. It could be done by government or private entities.
Hospice.
Mr. Adebayo says there are a lot of factors that make social care expensive. Reasons the retirement age in the UK was increased as you have to work more, get taxed, and live less. Can Nigeria adopt same strategy, a country where we hardly pay tax? He also mentioned that for homeless people, we have discharged from hospital. They are put in a hotel for a while and let the local council via social service deal with it. The hospital is not the place to house homeless people.
What is paying for that now? It's not.
Yes, the council. That's what I said. The council is paying.
What do we even take away from our COVID experience? We had a place where people were compelled to stay, and you know, some monies were
there was a whole fund for that.
Yes.
And some people still chopped out of it.
They chop out.
Anyway, we have to wrap up. But I think really, from Prof's comments on social media, I feel that the bigger problem is conversations. And we need to have the right kind of conversations. And young people need to be engaged properly. And just like Takwe has said, maybe because we've allowed them, we've indulged them, that's why maybe that it hasn't been, we haven't really helped them to see how to constructively debate an issue and get perspectives from different angles. However, in the same vein, we are also responsible enough to know how to engage even those before us. So if you are a tweeter, you don't agree to Professor Wole Soyinka, you have to have a way to engage him in a constructive conversation. So I think it's both ways. We need to be responsible to know how we engage them. They also need to be responsible in how to engage the older people. And I think Prof is somebody that is well respected. He's a national pride, an African pride, and we should, as you said, 89 years.
89.
He has every right to say what he chooses, when he chooses, and how he chooses.
Why is 89 yet? But
why is here every day giving us savage? I mean, what's we call?
That's all.
Let's use it to give it to us back to back.
Have a great day. I think have a great day. See you tomorrow.